Alright, so to start the background, we're going to start a new ActionScript 3.0. We want the size of our canvas to be a bit larger, so we're going to set it to be 800 pixels wide by 600 high. Now you'll notice it doesn't quite fit in the frame, so if you go up to your zoom window and choose the top one, fit in window, you'll be able to see it all. Before we start drawing, we always want to select that rectangle tool, and it doesn't matter, I'm just going to change the color because I want to choose blue just so you can see what I'm doing. Shouldn't matter what your fill color is right now because we're going to choose that in a moment. But just create a rectangle around your canvas, and then using the line tool we're going to separate that into two so that we have a ground and a sky. Alright, with the selection tool, click on the top half. You should be able to choose them individually. If not, redraw the line to ensure that these are separate. So clicking on the sky, I'm going to choose the paint bucket tool, and I'm going to go into the color palettes up top here, and I want to change it from a solid color to a linear gradient. And then if you double click on these little boxes here, you can choose what you want for your gradient. So I wanted a dark blue, and then if I double click there I can open it up, go to a different color. You can even choose a more of a turquoise too. So whatever colors you choose to be for your sky. Then you're going to use the paint bucket tool and just click and drag. If I start at the top and drag down, you'll notice that the darker color is near the bottom. But in the sky, I want the lighter near the bottom. So I'm just going to redraw that by clicking on the bottom and dragging up. And now that puts that darkness up top. If you go on a diagonal, it shifts it that way as well. So you can adjust that a little bit there. Once you've got your sky, now you're going to use the selection tool and right click on it. We want to convert that to a symbol and call it sky. And it's on graphics, so we can click OK. Now we're going to use the selection tool and click on the bottom, and for the bottom I just want to choose a solid color. So if you click on your fill color, or sorry, actually I can even do it the same way. If you click on the paint bucket and just go to your colors here, you're able to make sure that you're back in a solid color. And then now you can just choose what color you want. So I'm going to go with something quite a bit darker, and now it's filled in. Again, I want to convert that to a symbol, so right click on it, convert it to a symbol, and I'm going to call it the ground. It's in graphic, and press OK. Now I want to distribute both of these to the layer, so now there we go. Okay, what I want to do next is use the brush tool, and I'm going to choose again a dark color here. And I'm on the ground layer, so what I want to do is just start drawing out some grass. And what I might want to do is use the zoom tool just below the hand, and I'm going to zoom in on a section of this. And now I'm going to brush in some grass pieces. And I will fast forward the rest of this so you don't have to watch me brush in a bunch of grass. Okay, now that the grass is in, I'm also going to draw some trees. So I'm going to change my pencil brush color to something similar. I'm going to stick again with something dark, so I think I'm going to go a shade up. And I'm going to draw some trees in here. So I'm going to just first add a new layer. This will be for my trees. Okay, I'm going to double click all of that, and I want to convert that to a symbol. I'm going to right click, convert it to a symbol, and call it tree. And I'm going to distribute that to the layers. Okay, so what we're going to do next is add in some fog. So I'm going to use the brush tool again, and I'm just going to draw my fog over in the pasteboard area. So I want to zoom out, and it doesn't matter if my fog isn't the right size because I can transform and make it fit how I want later. So I'm just going to scribble out some fog over here, and I'm going to fill that in. Actually, I'm going to choose before I draw that. I'm going to add a new layer just so I'm not on anything else. Don't think I used that for my tree layer, so I should be able to, yeah, delete it. Okay, so on a new layer, I'm going to draw my fog is going to be maybe a little bit of more of a greeny, turquoisey tinge to it. Let me try that one. And I'm just going to draw that out on the side. And I'm going to fill that in with the paint bucket tool. Now I'm going to use the selection tool, and I'm going to double click that, and I'm going to convert it to a symbol. We're going to call it fog. This time I'm going to make it a movie clip so that I can add some filters to it. And then I'm going to press OK there. I'm going to distribute that to the layers now, so I can see that's down there. And now I can move it on to my scene. And I'm going to use the transform tool here to just resize it to cover some of my scene here. Now we want to add some filters to make it look more like fog. So I'm going to go into the properties, and I want to be in the filters, and with it opened you'll have some options down here where the bottom left one is where we're going to add our filter. First filter that we're going to add is a blur, and we're going to change this 5 to say 25 pixels by 25 pixels. So you can see already it's given it quite a bit of a blur. We're going to add another filter down there. This time we're going to add a glow, and we're going to make this about 50% by 50%. And then just change that color of the glow to something that you might like. Might even like a red in there. I'm going to go with something like that. And now the other thing we need to do, oops, I'm going to go back into, where was I? Click back on your symbol. I want to add in the color effect. So on color effect we have none right now. We want to click on alpha so that you can see it, so that it goes sort of see-through there. Right now mine automatically goes to 52. If I drag it down, my fog disappears. As I go to the right, it becomes more solid. So create a transparency sort of effect to your fog, something that you might like. There we go. And now we'll go on to creating our characters. Okay, the other thing that we're going to add is some stars. So again, click on your layer above so that and we're going to add in some stars. So with the brush tool, I'm going to choose my color to be a yellow. And on the pasteboard area, I'm just going to click once. And then what I want to do is I want to convert that to a symbol. So I need to, with the selection tool, click on it, right click, and we want to convert that to a symbol. We're going to call it star. I'm going to make that a graphic and click OK. And then again, right click and distribute it to the layers. So now I have this star layer. Now, in the properties of this symbol, we are going to change this star to be much smaller. We're going to go 2 pixels by 2 pixels. And I can also even, was thinking of adding, well, the alpha is probably okay. What we want to do is drag that onto our scene. And now if you hold the Alt button and click and drag, you should be able to copy that star. Now I'm just going to go back to make my scene a little bit larger to fit it in the window so we can see those little dots that are starting to form. If you wanted bigger stars or one brighter star in your scene, then just go back to these positions. If I try one that's going to be 5 by 5 and click and drag, you can see that that size of the star is much bigger. And then I can go back to some smaller ones. So if you want to change any sizes to make some appear brighter than the others, then you can, oops, wrong button, hold the Alt button, drag your stars about your scene. Add as many stars as you want in your night sky or whatever sky type you are creating. Alright, once we are done, and it looks like we are, we will move on to now creating our characters.